Do you have like an official time thing? It's like a Swiss.
There is.
It's a Swiss thing. The Swiss are in charge of time.
Yeah, but in this instance, it's StreamYard that is in charge of this thing. So
StreamYard, huh?
StreamYard's got it on lock.
I prefer the Swiss time.
I know for a fact we are on Instagram. We are on IG Live right now, which is awesome.
We've made it.
I'm a little delayed, but I'm closing it. I don't want to mess with any of this. Who's we got anybody popping up here?
Who's that?
Oh, someone peeked in and then left. That's terrifying when that happens.
Come on. Stick around.
I always wonder, like, what did we do?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. We didn't say anything yet. I've hardly said a word.
Yeah, we've got to get this show
going. That could be the problem, though. That could be the problem. I mean, people are tuning in because it's a podcast.
So we are going out to the Built Different group. We are going out to the Casually Serious Podcast Facebook page, the Casually Serious Podcast YouTube channel, as well as the Casually Serious Podcast on Instagram, which we're hoping is hitting everyone right now. It looks like the majority of our viewers right now are looking at us and watching and creeping in on us from the Built Different group. So what is going on, everybody in the BDG network? It's good to see everybody out there. We are the Casually Serious Podcast. I am Bob, and that is my homeboy KenMan. We grew up together in the 305 since we was kids. And
he lives in Denver now.
I do live in Denver now. He stayed put. I moved around. Man. You know what I'm saying? That's I don't know. There was a lot of crazy stuff growing up, when we were growing up in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, a lot of life and death situations. I'll tell you what. Yes. But I learned a long time ago, you can't treat every situation like it's life and death, because you'll die a lot of times.
50%.
That's how that goes. So we've got at least 12 people chilling online right now from the Build Different group. What is going on? Tanya, Rochelle, always good to see y'all popping up. I've got the same folks over and over. It's always good to get the love from the Build Different group. We've got some TCSP Facebook and YouTube watchers right now. So what the hell? Ken, man, what's going on, man? How you doing, man? How's everything going? We're getting likes and shares. This is beautiful. If you haven't liked or shared this, please share it.
Doing pretty good, man, other than slicing my thumb off today. This is like the top of my thumb and the bottom of my thumb, and I just taped it back together again. So kind of hoping for the best on that. But short of that, all's well, man.
Is it like, masking tape and sawdust? Is that what you've got going on there?
Hot glue, some duct tape, and
yes,
hot glue is important. It's very MacGyverish.
Yeah, and it's just the downside is that it's hot.
Feels good. I'm a sadist.
Well, let's get right into it.
Is that a helicopter in the background at the end of that thing there a little bit? It sounds like a helicopter. It's like we're arriving on a helicopter.
I don't know. I sometimes I just get really lucky with the way I edit things. I do know that it looks like I've got a European man bag on that photo of us at the end, when in fact it was a double-shouldered backpack. So not that I need to defend myself for any reason.
No. The European man purse is in.
It's European. What can I do, man? What can I do? At any rate, so what have we got? What have we got to talk about? We've got something from the audio files. Listen, if we paid $17,000 for that music and those graphics, we might as well use them at every turn.
All the time.
Yeah. So we had this conversation, and we're going to let it spill into this podcast right now about crazy musician conspiracy theories. And
it started with just regular conspiracy theories, but our conversations get really kind of all over the place, and they spin into other conversations and stuff. We often feel like we should just record those conversations and just kind of put them as the show, but I don't know, that might scare some people a little bit. It's a little disjointed, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting into kind of people talking about the flat Earths, or we never landed on the moon, and I got me thinking about those in particular, because it's like, if you believe in the flat Earth, then I guess you believe we didn't land on the moon, right? Because pretty much anyone that landed on the moon knows the Earth is not flat.
Well, I don't know about that. I would say because if you don't believe that we landed on the moon, that means that you doubt that we had the ability and capabilities at the time to get ourselves out of the Earth barrier into outer space. Whereas the other one isn't so much as tied as to abilities. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they're comparable, but
I'm just saying, it's like if you believe in the flat Earth theory, then you also probably believe we never landed on the moon.
You're right.
It's a way to dispel that. It's like any man or woman that's kind of left orbit, I think it's pretty sure Earth isn't flat.
Yeah.
But then it spiraled back into music stuff and all of that. And we got into something about Fleetwood Mac and some craziness about if you buy Fleetwood Mac stuff, you're giving to some kind of child devil Satan thing that happened in the 80s with one of their guitar players for 2 or 3 years that joined some kind of cult. I mean, it really went down some crazy holes and paths that we followed. And that was odd. So we're going to go and try to just talk about some normal ones then.
Yeah.
Like ones you've heard of before, more than likely.
You would think.
I would hope. I mean, we're older, so weird. Maybe not. Depends on your age.
We're a little older, guys. Yeah, that's how that's going to go. But so what's the first one you're kicking off? The first one you're kicking off, I know is going to be is
my boy.
It's an old school one, man. And since we are, in fact, dating ourselves by saying that we are old, we might as well go into one of the very first, I guess. Well, whatever. I'll let you roll with it. Go ahead. I was going to say urban legend, but I don't know if
conspiracy theories. I mean, it was, it's things that we get that get kind of tagged along with songs, and they follow these songs for a while, and it's the stories of how people either depict what the lyrics of the songs mean, or somewhere a story comes out and it just gets exasperated from there, and before you know it, somebody writes an expose about it and it becomes real, until finally the musician comes out and says what they have to say about it. So I think they like a little bit of that clouded in secrecy and have a little bit of that stuff. I feel that adds a little bit to the mystique of the song. So this particular song is a very popular song, Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight, and in that song, they sings about somebody drowning and being saved, and the conspiracy theory had always gone that he had not saved this person because of some wrongdoing. He knew who that person was. He knew they did something wrong, so he chose not to save that individual and allowed him to drown. That's kind of how the theory went.
You told me you were drowning. You would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. Yeah, so I think the whole gist of it, as we were listening to it, even though the first 10 times I heard it, I was like, I don't care. I'm waiting for that drum breakdown. I don't give a shit what he's talking about.
It's a Miami Vice song, right? I mean,
it's the simplest fucking fill you can possibly do in the world, but it was so powerful for drummers like us that were in love with that portion of it. But yeah, until I heard it maybe the 10th time, I was like, you told me you were drowning. Wait, he's watching someone die? And then I realized, no, he's watching someone watch someone die.
And there you go. And it turns out there he is, the man.
He's explaining this right here, I believe, on Jimmy Fallon. He's letting everybody know. And I guess maybe in this one, because I know the ending. I know how this one sort of ends. I know that Phil Collins definitely was asked this by Jimmy on the Tonight Show.
Looks like Rudy Giuliani there a little bit.
You just shave the head so nothing drips. That's a smart idea, man. Super smart idea. But he went on to say that he was just angry about his divorce after he came home from his tour ending to find out that he was having an affair. His wife was having an affair with their painter and interior decorator.
Now, painter and interior decorators? Were these two different individuals?
One person who did multiple things, and in this case, at least 3 things.
At least 3 things. Yeah.
At least 3 things. And so, we wanted to believe that some portion of this was true. Maybe it was a cousin's story, but the fact of the matter is, just like everyone else in the world, we're all human. And when we get pissed off, we say some weird shit. And in this instance, Phil Collins decided, you know what, man, this fucking ex-wife, fuck this hell, I'm tired of this bitch. And he decided to write a song about someone drowning or watching someone drown, which I guess could be metaphorically like him watching himself watch his wife drown. We could just spin this into all kinds of weird shit if we want. But yeah, that's how I think that's how that really went down, because I remember hearing multiple different stories about that, but it all kind of landed on him watching someone dying, which I'm glad isn't true, because at this point you think he would be prosecuted or someone would have been brought to justice, because to think that had
in the song.
Just to think 5 years went by and no one had looked for that person who died, even though Phil Collins wrote a song about it.
With still something in that lake.
That's hilarious that we didn't think about that. But yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff. What about Tom Petty? Right? What about Tom Petty?
So, I mean, I'm a huge Tom Petty fan. Love all of his music. American Girl is one of his most popular songs. Ends a lot of his shows with that song. And that was one where the story went that the girl that they were talking about, this was a legend in the University of Florida's campus, that a girl actually jumped from one of the dorm rooms, and that she was kind of hanging on, as the words say, and out on the edge and all of that, and thinking about somebody, and kind of let you into that she was lovesick and something happened and she was hurt and she was going to jump off of this tower. And that was actually something that was talked about around Gainesville for a long time. I knew a lot of friends in the 90s that went to school there, and they actually, it's Beatty Tower. They're like naming the tower that it supposedly had happened at, and all the windows were like sealed shut now, so nobody was able to go out there and do any of that anymore. But
you're shutting the wrong windows, man.
And 441 does kind of run through Gainesville there, so he mentions all of that in the song. So it's very fitting. The pieces all kind of fit there, and that was a story that for me, I believed hook, line, and sinker. I was all about that. I had no reason to think that wasn't what that song was about, to be very honest.
We growing up in Miami, Florida, like we did, we were bombarded with not only the same anti-drug propaganda as anybody else in the United States, but we were hit harder with it. On top of that, we had a really crazy mix of music, and then anybody who was mentioning Florida is obviously blowing up in Florida. I feel like Petty mentioned Florida almost all the time for some reason, but we were also inundated we were also inundated with Ted Bundy, like all these things, crazy shit happening in Florida that I think we probably thought was just, hey, everyone deals with this, man. But no, not everyone is freaking Florida. Like Texas is almost
now Florida. They are. Now everybody's pretty much Florida.
So I remember thinking to myself
back then, not so much.
Hearing that and going, so it wasn't literally taken from there.
Right.
It is apparent that he wrote the song based on the urban legend that this girl jumped out of the window, because this never actually happened. This was just something that was, I guess maybe someone mentioned it, or maybe a teacher in the 50s was like, listen, if you take those drugs, pal, you're going to jump out of the window. And then they might have just ran with it. And then it just kind of, and then that exact voice, by the way, they might have just ran with it. That could have been the urban legend, but it was such a impactful thing, like you were mentioning, at UF, that he actually wrote a song based on the impact the urban legend had on the area, which is crazy insane. It's like the whole Monster Mash thing, how it's not really a song or a dance, but it's a song about a dance, whatever. American Girl is one of those that really is
analyzed American Girl with Monster Mash.
I think I bought it too. I really think I bought it too, because I was a Floridian, man.
Up until like 36 hours ago, that's what I believe happened. So I don't know. Same with the drowning thing. I'm learning all this as we go right here. I'm hoping I'm letting other people know about it too, because I was just that old until I learned that wasn't true.
Yeah, we could just be spreading massive lies right now. What is going on, everybody? Casually Serious Podcast fans on YouTube as well as Facebook, and especially you folks over at Built Different Group that are hanging out. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Share if you can. I would appreciate it. Like BG always says, share it, or whatever he says. He's just got too much charisma. I can't be BG, man. Yeah, that guy's always on. He's always on. I don't think he sleeps. Regardless, it's like some of these other things that I heard. What about what about Kiss? What about Kiss?
Oh yeah, with the blood and the. So yeah, this is a good one. So this one was Kiss merchandised anything. Whatever Kiss could sell, they would sell. There was a Kiss everything, and of course you did.
I had.
But the one thing that I kind of had to draw a little ire to, say, hey, wait a minute here, I don't know if this is real, is that they supposedly sold comic books in which they had their own blood used in the ink for the comic book. So if you bought this book
far-fetched.
way back when, I don't know, was it about the 80s or so? If you bought this comic book, oh my God, 78. If you bought this comic book, you supposedly had the boy's blood in the red ink that was utilized in that comic book. This is something where I'm no. These guys never did that. These guys never stuck any needles in their arms unless they were putting drugs in there. It was absolutely not to remove it to put into an ink vat. But I'll let you take over from here, because you are the Kiss master here.
I mean, so, as my brother can attest to, as my homie Stoney, who's been on our show multiple times, can attest to, as Kiss maniacs, we definitely loved this comic book if we could get our hand on it. I know for a fact this is sitting in a Ziploc bag in my house in Miami right now, so I know that this is not only a real thing, but if you read the bottom of this comic book, it says in yellow, printed in real Kiss blood. So if you flip through the story of this comic book, you'll have a center section, sort of a center fold, thankfully without pictures of Paul Stanley, but there are it'll be pictures. You'll see pictures of them actually tied up at the doctor's office, getting their blood drawn and put into a vat of red ink to be put into that particular comic book, which, it's not even as if that needed to be a selling point. Like you said, Kiss put their name on everything, and I promise you that if I saw it in a store and it had Kiss on it, at one point or another, it ended up in my house. Between me and my brother, we got Kiss stuff, and we got all of it, and they sold everything. Of course, we either burnt it or ate it or whatever. But in this particular instance, we didn't necessarily need that to be a selling point for Kiss to be in a comic book. They were already comic book characters to us. So this already worked on 10 levels, but the 11th level was the blood. But it didn't really work out that way. As you can see right here, there are pictures in the center of them actually getting blood taken. Now, either that or just pictures of them with a needle near them, which Ace and Peter probably aren't too foreign to, but Gene and Paul definitely not so much. But the one on the bottom, you can see Ace, Peter, Gene, and Paul pouring blood into a vat of some kind, and that very evil doctor in the back grinning way too maliciously. And I'm not even sure. That's a big, scary industrial barrel of red color. But as you can read on the right, Kiss actually did add their blood to the vat, but it was meant to be used for the comic book. However, a mix-up is said to have landed the blood in an issue of Sports Illustrated. I believe my source for this is kissfact.com, which someone said in part 5 of a posted Norwegian Kiss documentary, Bill Aucoin says the Kiss blood actually went into Sports Illustrated, as the printing press was not set up to do the comic, but was in fact up for that month's issue of Sports Illustrated. So
just use this barrel over here. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Right. We got to get the Super Bowl out, man. Let's go.
That just makes complete sense, man. Everything. Let me tell you, if it wasn't Kiss on stage, everything else Kiss did was just absolute horrible. Like, the movie sucked. It was the campiest piece of crap in the world, but I watch it 2 times a year because it's the worst thing in the world. This comic book really wasn't even that good either. I wasn't even a fan of comic books. The fact that they didn't lose to Dr. Doom, there's just a lot of weird stuff going on. They were always, even though I kind of held them high, I kind of knew that there were people too. So for them to be in a comic book, they really they were losing me on that one too, but I wasn't a comic book fan. But as rock stars and leading the way for hundreds of bands, they did a great job. And as far as their gimmicky stuff, it really was unnecessary. Again, they didn't need to mention anything about blood to sell that comic, and it still would have sold.
It's just one more thing, and it was gimmicky because that's a lot of what they did. I mean, everything was to have a Kiss everything. It's like the Spaceballs, Spaceballs, the toilet paper. I mean, just that everything is going to have some sort of a label towards Kiss. And they were geniuses for it. I mean, they definitely marketed their band better than probably any band that I have ever seen growing up and being a part of as long as I have, watching them from so young to now.
And the Kiss brand kind of sells itself.
It does. It does.
Kind of like cocaine.
Yeah. It is a little
cocaine
bit like
sells itself.
Nice lead-in.
Yeah, there's multiple ways apparently that you can enjoy the substance as well, KenMan. What do you say about that?
I mean, I've always been the most traditionalist when it comes to my cocaine, so I like to I like to receive it anally. But that's traditional. I mean, that's right.
I like that you said receive it because that means that you were not involved in the process. You are somehow laid down on a bed of cannabis leaves, and someone gives it to you in a suppository form in a lab coat, but with like the
Not
chest
just anybody.
on.
Not just anybody, Bob.
Kelly LeBrock from '86. Is that? All right, Kenny, are you ready? Yeah, that's what you're waiting on. So are you talking about? Do I dare say Stevie Nicks is who you're speaking about right now?
I know. You have so much protection for your girl, but she's got some crazy stories, man. You want to start talking about conspiracy? I mean, I don't even think any of this is conspiracy, man. This is just pure party woman right here, and the things that woman did to her body to be able to enjoy the lifestyle that she did. Those stories that are out there now, even though she's refuting a few of them, she's not refuting all of them, and she's not doing it with a lot of gusto. It's just kind of like, yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
No. I never put my feet up on his couch. No, that never happened.
Your couch. Yeah, I think at this point there's still branding going on with a lot of our and until you don't see Maiden and all these other bands, including Stevie Nicks, who I tried to get tickets for today, and they're $400 a ticket. I'm not paying that. I'm sorry, Stevie.
You knew that was going to happen.
Until they don't tour anymore, then they're going to still hold their cards real close to their chest. But I know what you're talking about. I remember hearing let's say Tango in the Night, which is I think late 80s, early 90s, right? Isn't that what at that point we knew that she couldn't snort it anymore. Her voice was so distinct already, but she was apparently tearing a hole in her septum, and the doctor said she was going to die if she kept doing it. So we are told
that happened.
We are told that her alternative was, all right, well, if I can't put it in my nose,
where does it go?
It's time to toss it right in the keister wallet. And apparently what you're saying is true. Now, if we want to get scientific on this level, which, even if you aren't a scientist, you must have heard that there are people who put alcohol in their butts. There are people who put lots of things in their butts. But when we're talking about substances that are absorbed by your bloodstream, that is one of the faster ways for it to hit you. And I cannot speak by experience in any effing way. I can just say that I did a little bit of research on this, and apparently the blood vessels will enter whatever you put in there will get into the bloodstream a lot faster. However, there is a disclaimer that I must make. I am not in any way, shape, or form going to say anything bad about my angel, Stevie Nicks. I don't care that her tickets are $490,000. I can't say anything bad about her, so I will not do it. But I have heard that this is a possible alternative that she chose to continue doing cocaine, which again, I don't think so, man. I think when she decided to stop doing coke, she realized that it really had nothing to do with what hole she was putting it in, that it was more to do with the fact that it was going into one of her holes and causing lots of monetary issues and relationship issues. She was in a relationship with every man in that band, I think maybe other than John McVie, which maybe was only two men. But they eventually all were with each other, and coke did a lot of crazy shit to that band. So this may be, I don't know. I can't say that I'm going to be surprised by this, but I don't want to believe it.
I like how you do that, and I find it interesting how we have like some limits each of us do to where we're going to say, you know what, I really like this fill in the blank actor, musician, comedian, whatever. So I don't care that they said this, or they acted like this, or they did that, whatever it might be. And I mean, it's like you're sitting here defending her because you like her so much, you appreciate her music, all of that, and I get it, that you're able to kind of just discount some of the things that these folks do in their personal lives, and just continue to move forward and not necessarily comment on those things in any negative way. Yet there's other people that maybe you feel if they just push your right buttons individually or do the things, hey, wait a minute now, no, that's too far. We all have these kind of sort of limits here to what we're going to accept. I mean, Mel Gibson's an anti-Semite, but he's a damn good actor. So what can I tell you? I don't like the human being, but he's a good actor, man. So you got. I'm not going to not watch Lethal Weapon ever again. I mean, it's just that kind of stuff.
That's not. I think you can silently find a way to protest that. I understand it completely. Kevin Spacey is right there with me, man.
There you go.
When it comes to that, I know that what he was accused of is extremely disgusting and horrible. I don't know what came of it, but I see that there's a resurgence of him in some way. I don't know that means that what he was. Someone said that he did, whether he did it or not, I don't know. But as you said, it's hard for me to like. I guess I'm not hard for me. It's always been easy for me to be like, you're an actor, act. Whatever you do when you're in your spare time, I don't give a shit about. But when it comes to grooming young men and sexually abusing men and children of any kind, that's completely screwed. So yes, you're right. If I learned that Stevie Nicks was not only putting cocaine in her butt, but doing it in front of children, then I think I would have a real problem with what we were just discussing. But
there you go.
You're right. There are levels.
Bob. Here we go. It's okay. This is no good.
Yeah, I think we've established where my level is right now. I don't know, man.
I like it. And also we found out where your price threshold is as well. For seeing Stevie Nicks.
I don't know, man. My situation is I saw her, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago with the Pretenders opening, which was amazing.
Nice.
And so we and Chrissy Hine came out and sang a song with Stevie. It was beautiful. So that's the last memory I have. And I think when we saw her pop up, we were like, all right, well, if she's at Red Rocks, that's going to be amazing. We have to go to that because Stevie at Red Rocks is a magical thing. But it didn't work out that way. It was at the Ball Arena or Pepsi Arena, whatever you want to call it out here. We still call it Pepsi Arena. For the first 15, I looked at the first 10 rows today and they were $500, $600 a piece. And that wasn't resale. That was what they are being sold for right off the bat. So for me to see her at this age for 10 times the amount that I saw her for in her prime just does not seem good to me because she can't sing the way she used to sing. And most people can't at 75, 80 years old. Ask Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. Ask any of the folks other than Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford, who started off as gods and will die as gods along with Dio. Most other people don't get the career to be able to have the longevity in their voice the way those folks have. But I don't know. It's tough. That's tough.
That it is.
You buy it? Do you buy into the booty hole Stevie Nicks theory?
No. I think that's I don't know. That's a little far. I mean, I guess I wouldn't put it past anybody once they're kind of at that point where they're just so messed up they'll do anything to continue that. So maybe, but weird.
So how does that? What the funny thing is how has that lasted all the way to 2024?
Right.
It's kind of insane.
I think it's because of her not necessarily really coming out and disputing it with any kind of like, hey, no way, I didn't do that. It's messed up. What are you people doing? Like you could, you could really. She's not.
You know what? The 70s are really crazy, guys. It was really nuts back then. I didn't really. I did a lot of things.
That was a dead on Stevie Nicks, by the way.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. I could buy it. I could not buy it. I don't know, man. Whatever. She's a freaking an angel, and she's never done anything wrong. And we were just born at different times, man. So.
Could have almost worked out for you.
Yeah, it could have almost worked out, but man, I don't know, dude. That's crazy, man. The craziness of these things still living is just a testament to how. Back then, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the ability. So right now,
spell any of this.
Right. So right now, someone can say A, B, and C, and then we can go, I don't know, man, and go Google that shit. And then if you're really good at deducing and how to look into stuff, then you
learn
can find
whatever
out.
You want. As
Back then, we were just like, dude, you got to talk to somebody you trust, and maybe if they say yes, then you buy it. Or if it's not Encyclopedia Britannica, you're not really buying anything.
Yep.
Like it's not really on record. I'm not buying that.
Need the written word.
Yeah. Anyway,
and now everybody writes the word.
Yes. We are reaching the end of our time, and I don't know. We've got plenty of other conspiracy theories we can jump into, but that was really probably the end of it for us. We appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us again tonight. We will be here the same time next week. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. Share it with some people who like to hear a couple of dudes gab about things that you might find interesting.
And watch out for the Indians. Watch out for the Indians.
Okay. All right. I don't. We love you guys. Have a good one.